What's going on, everybody? It's GAMEUNBOXING Reviews here, and welcome back to another news update. So, as the title of the video suggests, in today's video I'm going to be breaking down the recently released Spider-Man Far From Home teaser trailer. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Now, before we get started, I can't not talk about this very cool new poster for the film, which showcases Spider-Man's mask and a bunch of stickers of locations that Peter will be visiting in the film, such as obviously New York, Prague, London, Venice, Italy, the Swiss Alps, and Berlin. Alright, so now onto the trailer. So the first thing that we see in this trailer is of course a shot of what I believe is Queens, and as you can see from the banner on the building, it says homeless support, food shelter, hope, doing the most good, and that is of course because Aunt May and Peter Parker, dressed as Spider-Man, appear to be holding a charity dinner in support of the homeless people of Queens. Now, we also see that people are rushing to ask Spider-Man questions after Aunt May thanks him, so I'd say that he's probably become something of a celebrity, well, at least in Queens, but the question is, why? Hopefully we'll find out more in Avengers Endgame. Now, here's something very interesting, because at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, Aunt May of course saw her beloved nephew dressed as Spider-Man, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought May would probably ground Peter for all of eternity after seeing him like that. But it actually turns out that she seems to be really cool with the idea of him being Spider-Man, and I actually quite like that because it creates an interesting relationship between the two characters that we've never seen on screen before, and Tom Holland and Marissa Tomei already have brilliant chemistry in these films, so getting to see those two together again is always great. Here we see Happy Hogan bringing in a massive check courtesy of Pepper Potts. Now, this probably confirms that Pepper is going to survive Avengers Endgame, which is great news. However, this is Marvel Studios we're talking about, so they could potentially change the trailer to make us think Pepper is alive, when in actual fact, there is a different name on that check. Here we see that May and Happy are a thing, maybe? Now, personally, I don't see this as much of a big deal. Jon Favreau has proved himself to be extremely funny as Happy in the MCU, so I think this will just add a little bit more humor to the film, and as we can see from the trailer, Peter is just as surprised and confused as the audience. Here we see Peter packing for his school trip, and there doesn't seem to be anything interesting to note in this shot, but the box to the left does have Parker on it, although I'm pretty much certain that's just Peter's actual box full of random stuff. However, I suppose it's not crazy to think that Peter might find something about his dad in one of those boxes, and with Nick Fury being in this movie, you could also say that this is the perfect opportunity to reveal that Peter's parents were once S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Just don't go into as much detail as the Amazing Spider-Man did. But again, that's just a wild theory. Here we see Peter talking with Mr. Delmar in his store. Nice to see that they brought this character back, because I really enjoyed his scenes in Spider-Man Homecoming. And if you look up, you'll actually see callbacks to that film with a newspaper that says Top Queen's Bodega destroyed in blast, as well as a picture of Spidey and Mr. Delmar performing the iconic Spider-Man hand gesture, which is amazing. Another newspaper that says Delhi destroyed, and finally a picture of Mr. Delmar with an unknown person. Now, this has to be one of my personal favourite scenes in the entire trailer, because while we did already see a little glimpse of it in Avengers Infinity War, we finally get to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man web-swinging through Manhattan, with ease too, as he uses his phone, and it just looks amazing. I cannot wait to see more web-swinging scenes like this in the actual movie. I think it's also important to mention that behind Peter is of course Grand Central Station. We can see the monument built in memory of the civilian heroes who died during the Battle of New York, and of course the building that is no longer Stark Tower or Avengers Tower is now under construction. Now, if you recall from Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony Stark of course sold the building to move to the new Avengers facility in upstate New York. But the question is, who did he sell it to? Was it Reed Richards? Was it Norman Osborn? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but I certainly hope that we get an answer at some point during this film, whether that be before or after the credits. Cool shot here of Peter Parker's passport with all the details that you'd expect, nothing too interesting here. Now, in this part of the trailer, May asks if Peter packed his suit, and despite the fact that he's still clearly enjoying being Spider-Man, he decides that he wants to take a break away from the crime fighting. Now, I know when this scene was shown at Brazil Comic-Con a while ago, a lot of people were worried that this meant that Peter didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore, but don't worry, because like he says in the trailer, he just wants to enjoy a trip away with his friends, which is completely understandable, so obviously this is just temporary. Quick thing to mention here, I don't think it's anything special, but in in this shot to the right of Peter, there looks to be a picture of a woman in black and white. Now, my first thought with this was obviously Aunt May, but it would actually be really cool if this is a picture of Mary Parker, of course, Peter Parker's mother. But of course, we will just have to wait and see. Now, this is very interesting because on Peter's briefcase, it says BFP. Now, straight away, I think we can all agree that the B and the P instantly make you think of Benjamin Parker, of course, Peter's beloved Uncle Ben. It makes a lot of sense that this would be Uncle Ben's previous briefcase. However, that just leaves the F, and as far as I'm aware, Uncle Ben has never had a middle name before, so maybe they just decided to give him one for the MCU. Beautiful shot here of Venice. We can also see Betty Brant taking a picture of Ned Leeds, Michelle looking at Peter, and Peter just enjoying his vacation, which is really nice to see. Now, I can't really make out everyone in this shot, but that definitely looks to be Mr. Harrington, the science teacher at Midtown and the head of the school's academic decathlon team, leading a group of classmates into a theatre to go see a play. Funny little scene here with Peter and Michelle. Nice to see their friendship grow a little more in this film, as Tom and Zendaya have really great chemistry on screen. No, that is not Mr. Delmar's cat Murph, that is in fact a different cat, but aside from that we can also see a bunch of characters here, including our first look at JB Smoove, who appears to be another teacher in the film. But of course this is a movie that features Mysterio, so there could be a lot of twists and turns. We can also see Peter, Mr. Harrington, Ned, Michelle, Betty, and a bunch of other students. Again, more Peter and Michelle talk. I'm sure they'll probably be more than friends by the end of this film, but it'll be interesting to see if she'll also learn of his secret identity. Hilarious introduction here as Peter is brushing his teeth with the toothbrush and toothpaste that he bought from Delmar's back in Queens. Ned gets shot in the neck by none other than Nick Fury, who knows exactly who Peter Parker really is. Here we get a cool shot of Spider-Man on Nick Fury's speedboat in Venice. But wait, didn't Peter leave his suit back in Queens? Well, in the international teaser trailer, it opens with a scene of Peter walking into customs at an airport. And eventually we see this shot of web fluid, web shooters, and of course the Spider-Man suit itself in Peter's case, with a sticky note left by May that says, "You almost forgot this, love May." So not only is May cool with the idea of Peter being Spider-Man, but she's actually encouraging him to do more with his alter ego, which again I really like because it's something different that we've never seen before in a Spider-Man movie. Not quite sure where this shot was taken, but I think it's safe to say that S.H.I.E.L.D. is probably going to be restored after the events of Avengers Endgame. Nice shot here of Michelle, Ned, and the rest of the class in London. It'll be interesting to see what Spidey and friends get up to in this city. Well, that answers that question. Here, of course, we can see some extremely epic shots of Peter in his stunning new black and red Spider-Man suit as he glides towards London's Tower Bridge with the use of his web wings, which I'm personally really happy to see make a return in this film. Yes, that is indeed Maria Hill in Spider-Man Far From Home, which is great to see. But wait, is that Sandman? Too soon to tell, but I really hope so. Regardless, whoever this dude is, he looks epic, and I cannot wait to see Spidey take him down. Already loving the interactions between Peter and Nick, with Fury telling him that he's got gifts, but they have a job to do. So is he going to step up or not? I really feel that this line is hinting at the fact that this is a story where we will see Peter Parker become a lot more independent, and even more like the hero that we all know and love, which is already very obvious in many of the scenes that we see in this trailer. A lightning strike? Certainly not Thor, and definitely not Storm. And Electro seems like a big reach too, but whoever this is, they are causing a lot of chaos. Here we get some even more beautiful shots of Spider-Man gliding and web swinging around London's Tower Bridge with some insane explosions going on in the background. Now here we get a shot at night of this very weird thing that explodes in front of Michelle and reveals what I believe is in fact Molten Man. Never thought that I would ever see this character on the big screen, so that is awesome. And if we think back to Nick's speech earlier, we see flames behind him and a shot of Peter taking his mask off underground at night. So those scenes could potentially be the aftermath of the Molten Man fight. Here we see Happy telling Peter that he's all alone during this battle, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who immediately thought about the Avengers after I heard that line, especially Stark. Now here's an interesting shot because this trailer is full of crazy superpowered characters, and then we see these guys with guns. Who are they? Well, I have absolutely no clue right now, but hopefully we'll get to see Spidey take them down because it's always fun to watch him fight thugs in the movies. Yep, that lightning strike did indeed hit exactly where Peter's class were on London's Tower Bridge. We can see Michelle, Ned and Betty running for their lives. But if you look carefully, you'll see that Ned is holding Betty's hand, and we can also see the two looking very happy together at the airport in the movie's international teaser trailer. So it looks like Peter isn't the only one that is getting a love story this time around. Now here we get some awesome shots of the aftermath of a carnival fight with Peter in his extremely awesome new black suit, which obviously isn't a symbiote, but looks to be a stealth suit of some kind. Now I absolutely love how the eyes come down in the trailer. That is just so cool. And if you look carefully, you can see on the left of Peter's body armor, there is a patch with nothing on it. And since Fury and Hale are behind him in this scene, I'd say that there's a very strong possibility that a SHIELD logo will be on the suit in the final version of the film. Here we see Michelle looking up at something, and I think that's probably going to be the thing that Molten Man was in before it exploded. Powerful moving waves, can it be? It certainly looks like it. I believe this is in fact Hydro Man's cinematic debut on the big screen, which is just awesome. And we can already see that he's giving Peter a really hard time in his civilian clothes, might I add. I always love seeing a good Peter Parker fight scene in the movies. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is indeed Jake Gyllenhaal as the one, the only Mr. Quentin Beck himself, Mysterio. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting so very long to finally see this character on the big screen, and man, did Marvel Studios not disappoint. He looks absolutely perfect. That costume is completely flawless, and the way he makes his entrance is literally straight out of the comics. The green smoke, the way it looks, just awesome in every way. I really can't compliment this enough. However, don't you think that it's a bit of a coincidence that Mysterio shows up just as Hydro Man starts attacking? Could he be an illusion? I mean, this is Mysterio we're talking about, a character who even in his very first appearance pretended to be a crime fighter before being exposed as a special effects artist who decided to turn his skills to crime. So even in this movie, Quentin Beck could be completely full of it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, what can I say? Wow, just wow. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is indeed Mysterio with the iconic fishbowl helmet taking on Hydro Man in a movie. The costume, the effects, everything. I mean, is it July 5th yet? Because I seriously need this movie right now. And finally, we get this humorous scene of all the students watching Mysterio's fight with Hydro Man on TV, with Flash explaining why he loves Spider-Man before being a douche to Peter. Because, I mean, come on, it's Flash Thompson. What do you expect? And that's it, guys. That was my breakdown of the official teaser trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home, and all the important parts from the international teaser trailer. But the last thing that I wanted to mention is that the music score in this trailer is so good. Another huge homage to the 1960s Spider-Man theme, which also played during the opening credits to Spider-Man Homecoming, but I really like this new version, and I hope we hear a lot more great music scores like this in the movie. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos real soon, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.